Well, the 2020 NHL Entry Draft has been rescheduled yet again. And also, we'll talk about the picks that the Calgary Flames have going into said 2020 Entry Draft. And the last part of the video, we'll talk about why I think the Edmonton Oilers, they're going to defer that third round pick to 2021. That's what I'll cover in this video. Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and definitely found enough material to make a quick video in the middle of the week, as most of the time I usually make my videos on the weekend, but I definitely got a few things that I want to talk about in this video. Well, first, the 2020 NHL Entry Draft. Originally, it was scheduled to be on the weekend of June 26th, 27th, and it would have been in Montreal at the Bell Center, but, we keep beating this horse to death, but, the global pandemic with COVID-19, canceling everything or postponing everything, so they decided that the draft will be held virtually on October 9th and 10th, which would have been the Canadian Thanksgiving weekend. But also at the same time, free agent frenzy was going to start on October 9th as well, which is the Friday. However, the other day, the NHL recently announced that they're going to reschedule the NHL Entry Draft. Now it's going to be on October 6th and 7th, which would be the Tuesday and Wednesday of that week. I haven't heard anything about when or what time it's going to be, but it's obviously going to be virtual, with the social distancing measures and all that stuff that's in style right now during COVID-19. So the first round will obviously happen all on the Tuesday, and then the rounds 2 through 7 will all happen on Wednesday. And I just figured that makes sense, just kind of spread out. I mean, it's already going to be a compressed off-season as it is. I mean, we're into the third round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, where you have the Vegas Golden Knights and Dallas Stars, and the surprisingly New York Islanders, after they got easily knocked off Florida in the play-in series, and then they also got past Washington fairly easy, and then the Philadelphia Flyers pushed them to Game 7. They got the New York Islanders playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, and if both of those series go to 7 games, we're going to be playing hockey up till September 18th and 19th, and as I still understand, if the Stanley Cup Finals need all 7 games, that will be on October 4th. So we're already going to be in a compressed off-season. The NHL is still figuring out how long the off-season is going to be, about when training camps are going to begin, and how the schedule is going to come out for the 2020-21 season. It might be becoming more apparent that bubble hockey will still continue, as I made my earlier video on that. As well, it might be a pipe dream that they might get full 82 games in if they don't want to keep skewing the schedule, but that's still to remain to be seen. But I just think it almost make a little more sense. It definitely will still be excitement with a lot more activity when you have the draft and free agent frenzy much closer together, but it probably would have been a little much even more on general managers' plates to have both happening at the same time. So just ahead of the Canadian Thanksgiving weekend, the draft will come in and then free agent frenzy. So my plan is that I'll probably wait until that said weekend that I'll make my Calgary Flames draft recap video, and then if any activity that they've done in free agent frenzy, or if there's enough buzz and rumors out there, depending on the courting period that they have, so you can woo potential free agents to come play to your side. I did make my pre-free agent frenzy video last year, as there were some rumors, and one player that was rumored to come here actually did happen, and another player almost did in a trade. And speaking of the Calgary Flames draft recap, let's go over the picks that the Calgary Flames will have at the draft table as of this recording, before, obviously, if there's any trades coming in. And also we'll cover the Edmonton Oilers, what they have on a draft table that will talk about why I think the Edmonton Oilers, they're going to defer giving us that third round pick in the Lucic Neal trade until 2021. Now that league ruled that the conditional pick will go to the Calgary Flames, but they give the Edmonton Oilers choice to give it to us this year or next year. So when it comes to the Calgary Flames, first round, they'll have their own first round pick, 19th overall. And then the second round, they'll have their own second round pick. That'll be 50th overall. And then the third round pick, this is where it could get interesting. Well, the Edmonton Oilers first round pick that would come to Calgary, if Edmonton elects to give Calgary the pick this year, would have been 76 overall, and that was acquired in the James Neal for Milan Lucic trade. And they did put a condition on that third round pick that if James Neal scores 21 or more goals, and if Milan Lucic is 10 or more fewer away, that Calgary would get that pick. And it would have been 2020, but given, what has happened with the shortened season, James Neal did have 19 goals in the 70-year games seasons that most teams got to play, and Milan Lucic scored 8 for the Calgary Flames. The league actually came in and ruled on it, so Edmonton has still as a choice, and they won't decide until the second to 7 rounds on that day what's going to happen to that pick, or there'll be some deadline that the Edmonton Oilers will pick. So we might get a pick in the third round, because Calgary will not have a pick in the third round, because their own pick, the 81st overall pick, we're going to send that to Chicago, in the Eric Gustafsson trade. So at the deadline when we acquired Eric Gustafsson, we traded that pick away. And there was a condition at that time that would have been the higher of those 2 picks, so we would have gotten that pick. But I think now this is all based on cap friendly. I think it's established that the 81st pick, Calgary will give that to Chicago, regardless if Edmonton gives us the pick this year or not. And then the 4th round that also gets interesting is actually Calgary will pick earlier in the 4th round, because Calgary will get the 96th overall pick, which originally came from San Jose, which came from via Montreal, via Buffalo. And that was in the crazy trade day where I made my video when we traded Michael Frolik to the Buffalo Sabres. Well, that pick changed hands a few times, where Montreal had that pick from the San Jose Sharks, then Montreal traded that pick to the Buffalo Sabres, and eventually the Buffalo Sabres traded that pick to the Calgary Flames in the Michael Frolik, and there were 3 trades that happened that day with San Jose, or I remember it was Buffalo, Calgary, and San Jose with Montreal. So we'll get the 96th overall pick, because our own 4th round pick, 112th overall, we're going to send that to the Los Angeles Kings when we acquired Oscar Fandenberg at the trade deadline in 2019. And then when it comes to the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds, these will be our own picks. So Calgary will have the 143rd overall pick in the 5th round. The 6th round will be 174th overall. And then the last pick would be in the 7th round, 205th overall. That's all barring any other moves. So as it is according, those are the picks that the Calgary Flames have. So the last part, this is why I think the Edmonton Oilers, who have a choice to either give Calgary the pick this year or next year now, I think they're going to wait till 2021, because the Edmonton Oilers are going to be giving away some of their own picks. And if they, let's say, gave us the 3rd round pick, Edmonton would have a long time between picks if they don't make other moves. That they still have their own 1st round pick, which is going to be 14th overall. And then the 2nd round, the 45th overall pick, that pick is going to the Detroit Red Wings, and that was in the Sam Gagner trade, where they traded Sam Gagner at 2020, that pick, and the 2021 2nd round pick. So Sam Gagner, 2020, 2021 2nd round pick goes to the Detroit Red Wings in the Andres Sesagno and Ryan Kefner trade. So Edmonton will not have a 2nd round pick. Then the 3rd round was the 7-6 overall pick that could potentially go to the Calgary Flames, but the Edmonton Oilers will get to decide if they're going to give it to us this year or next year. However, their own 4th round pick, the 107th overall pick, that is also going to the Detroit Red Wings, as the Detroit Red Wings and the Edmonton Oilers also collaborated on another trade, where the Edmonton Oilers traded Kyle Brodziak and that 4th round pick in exchange for Mike Green. So I'm going to think that Edmonton's going to defer to 2021, because after their own 1st round pick, they will not have a pick until the 5th round if they give that to Calgary in the Lucic Neal trade, because Edmonton has their own pick in the 5th round, 138th overall, and they have their own pick in the 6th round at 169th overall, and they have their own 7th round pick in 200th overall. So if Calgary were to get that 3rd round pick from the Edmonton Oilers, they won't pick again from the 1st round of 14th overall, and they won't pick again until the 5th round, 138th overall. So I'm going to think with the Edmonton Oilers having that choice, barring any other moves, they're going to keep the 3rd round pick this year and wait until 2021, but already in 2021, barring any other moves, Edmonton's second round pick in 2021 will be going to Detroit in the Anastasio Hafner trade, and then eventually we will get that pick in the Milan Lucic for trading away James Neal. But that's my personal opinion, and I did see an article on Flames Nation that also said that Edmonton will probably keep the third round pick this year because they have traded away their second and fourth round pick. So much for all that buying that the Edmonton Oilers did, although then given what has happened, and they did not get out of that play-in series, so I'm going to say Detroit did pretty well, pick up a few picks while selling off assets, and I believe that Mike Green, the defenseman, actually announced his retirement, so although the Oilers still got Andres Anastasio, as I know. So that's just my video on talking about the 2020 NHL Entry Draft has been rescheduled once again, but it will be ahead of the Canadian Thanksgiving weekend, ahead of free agent frenzy, so I don't think general managers would be too busy, but they're still going to be busy either way. And then we just touched on the picks that the Calgary Flames have, and why I think the Edmonton Oilers will probably wait till 2021 to give us the third round pick to complete the Milan Lucic and James Neal trade. So if you enjoy everything if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, and of course I always say, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit like, subscribe. I mostly talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel and any other sports, but I also have personal vlogs, attempt to comedy, and I also do share my experience when I'm on the road or at a sport event. So if it all sounds like it'd be interesting to watch, to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, you know what you need to do, just make sure you like, subscribe, and once in a while I might also throw in another video just to keep things interesting, to provide a variety of content on my channel. And I also have my other social media links down in the description below for other ways you can follow me to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey. So as I say here, go Flames go, and we're still going to keep enjoying the rest of the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs as we're into the Final Four, but I'm definitely looking forward to the off-season, which is a month away, to find out who we draft and any moves that we can make, and what decision are we going to make with our head coach, as they're still out there on, are we going to take the interim take off of Jeff Ward, or are we still going to bring in someone else? And apparently there was reports that we're going to make that decision soon, so I plan to make videos on that as soon as I know all that news, and of course I still plan to recap the draft and free agent frenzy. So, go Flames go, and I'll see you in the next video.